So before I get started here, I just want to make sure that I have sound. I don't know how many times I've been on a live where I didn't have sound. Let's see here. Should be live. Seven weeks. This is it right here. So I do have sound. It doesn't sound very good though. Check my mic. I wonder if my mic is not using the camera. So let me double check that and then we'll get started. I don't want it to use, I want to use my this. There we go. That microphone. Now, if I go over there. All right, guys, the live one. Ugh, I actually don't like going live for this very reason, but that's okay. We're gonna figure this out. That's better. Now, if I go over there, that's better. Okay. So here's the question. I have. Oh, okay. I got a notification that popped up on my screen. So there you go. The benefits of live and distractions and all that good stuff. And I do take my glasses off because I don't really, they're reading glasses, guys. I had somebody on YouTube say to me, like comment, like, why do you keep taking your glasses off? Well, that's why, because I don't really need them except for to read my notes. So I take them off and on just because. I mean, I want to look at the camera and see you, and I want to read my notes a little bit so that I stay on topic. So today's topic: 7 mistakes to avoid to keep your hard-earned money safe. Now, I've seen so many stories, and you probably know someone who has lost a lot of money, had their identity stolen, all kinds of stuff like that, right? So I'm just going to run through some of these things that I have learned on the job, and from professional technicians who have to recover this stuff for people. It's not a happy topic at all. There's a lot of scammy people out there, and you got to watch it. You got to be vigilant, and believe me, don't feel bad if you fall for one of them, because we all do. Even people who are professional, cybersecurity people, they fall for it, because what happens is you're distracted and you click something, whoops, without thinking, right? Or you're distracted because you're busy. Everybody's busy. So that happens too, and they are really good. They've learned how to manipulate. They've learned all the psychology and the marketing. And I'm a marketer. I love all of that stuff. And, you can use those kinds of tools for good, or there are people who use them for not so good, nefarious purposes. So, number one, I just said it, is watching for suspicious links, or even ones that come over text, right? They come over email, they come over text, they come over Messenger. They show up in ads. Believe it or not, I think it's kind of crazy, but marketers that are out here trying to do good have their Facebook ads account shut down, Twitter ad or X ads shut down, stuff like that, or their whole accounts shut down. And we're trying to teach you, trying to help you stay safe out there. Stay safe out there. And then I find ads from these nefarious people. And I don't know if that's the right word, but they're not nice people. And they run those ads, and people click them because they look legit until you get in, you give them your information. Okay, I'll just give you an example. Not too long ago, we were actually, we're like, we love Duluth Trading Company's clothes, and they're not cheap. They're kind of expensive, but they're really nice clothes, and they last a long time, right? That's why we like them, because they're tough. We like to be outdoors and do all the stuff out there, and we don't like our clothes to be ruined. We like them to be, strong and tough. But anyway, they're expensive. But there was an ad on Facebook from Duluth Trading, but if you looked close, the website looked very legit. It looked exactly like Duluth Trading's website. However, it was just slightly different. It was like duluthtrading.sales.com or something like that. And without being diligent, without being vigilant, without looking at the link, the URL, the address in the address bar, you wouldn't notice. And you're just looking at the prices and you're like, wow, this is a great sale. I mean, like, this is like 60% off of these clothes. It's just an awesome sale. And they have their legit prices marked down in red. And you're like, wow. But because I work where I work and because I've seen what I've seen, I looked at I was like, this just can't be for real. I'm like, why would they have everything on their website at that much of a discount? So what I did is I picked up the phone and I called because I'm on their list. So I called Duluth Trading, and sure enough, they said, "Yeah, we keep reporting them, and their websites keep popping up, but thank you for calling." And they were glad that we told them it was not legit. What happens is they take your credit card information, or they just take your information, period, because then they have your login, right? Because you're going to log into this fake website. And then guess what? If you use the same password on other websites, let's say your banking or someplace else important, they look at where you live. They say, oh, it's likely that they bank at any of these banks, and they'll try the password all over those places and get in. So there's that. And then, of course, some of them will just steal your credit card. So you'll end up with different charges on there. And some of them just run off with your money and you never get the product. So watch those links. Don't click links at all, actually. I know it's super inconvenient. I mean, like when you get a text saying, oh, there's a sale, and you're on their text list, right? Because I'm on text lists. I get sale notifications, like, right here. This one says It Cosmetics 30% off sale wide ends today. Now, I would click the link, right? Because I'm on their list. But the safe thing to do is to go to your browser and type in itcosmetics.com, check out the sale there, and log in, okay? Rather than clicking the link, because you can't tell if it's a suspicious link or not, because in these texts, and I know as a marketer, I would want you to click the link because I want to be able to track, the click-through rates and all that kind of stuff on there. But guys, it's the real world we live in. So you got to watch out. So here's I'm only on number 1. That was clicking suspicious links. I mean, we could go like forever on this stuff. Number 2 is accepting connections on social media with suspicious profiles, or worse, engaging in conversation with them. So just had one today. I'm friends with a lot of marketers, and you know what? I have a big friends list. So it's really hard to spot these. But it just so happened I had just had a recent conversation with this woman, and she popped up on my friend request list, and I was like, I'm already friends with her. So I went over to her profile and I looked, and sure enough, we're still friends. So I like, okay, messaged her and I sent her a link to this profile, and I said, hey, just making sure I'm going to report this profile because I don't think it's you. And sure enough, she said, yep, it's another copy of me. Like, that's what they do. They will take, and it looks exactly the same, right? Because they take all the pictures off of those profiles and make fake accounts. The reason why they do that is to get after your friends. So they will friend you, and then they will get after all of your friends, messaging them or whatever. Or sometimes they'll just message you, which I've had that happen before. Also, I actually had a conversation with them because I thought it was her. It was a fake Instagram account. And I'm like, talking. I'm like, boy, it just doesn't sound like her, and you can tell. You get this feeling like this just doesn't feel right. Something's wrong. But the ultimate was when she asked me for my Cash App account or whatever. I was like, I don't have a Cash App account. And number one, and number two, I don't think she'd be asking me for it. Why? It's like, no. So that was the big clue. But you got to watch out for those kinds of things. Don't converse with them. Don't friend them, but just block and report those profiles. Actually, if you report them, they're automatically blocked anyway. But do so on TikTok. And you know what? Sometimes you can't keep up with them because they keep popping up, especially on the really popular ones, the celebrities and that kind of stuff. So you got to watch out for that. So number 3, so that's number 2 is, accepting those connections. Number 3 is falling for phishing scams. And this is, I should have made this number 1 because it's the one that most people fall for. And we talk about it at my workplace like every week almost. I mean, we talk about different topics, but I don't know how many times a year we talk about phishing because phishing, PHISHING, not FISH. I love phishing. But that kind of phishing is they're trying to get information from you. Okay. So the most popular ones are emails and they pretend to be somebody they're not. And texts. We talked about this on number 1 too. They're fake texts also. So you watch out for those. I'll just give you an example of one that I know of where this young person who had just gotten hired was, actually looking for, tasks to do, to keep and she wanted to really, really please her employers. So when she got an email from a boss, she opened it and followed the instructions. Well, it was a scam. Now she's out like $1,000 because of gift cards or whatever. It sounds silly, but again, everyone falls for these things. Everyone does because of some situation, of something where the scammer caught you off guard or tricked you in some way. I mean, by all means, a company that you work for should have some kind of cybersecurity training in place. There should be some kind of phishing training. And if you need information on that, throw me a line or drop the word phishing and I will get you in touch with the company I work for if you're a fit. I mean, they don't take all kinds of clients. If it's something else, you could go to knowbefore.com. It's KNOW. I think it's BE, the number 4, something like that. If you Google it, you'll find it. They have some phishing training that you can use. So there's that. And then, you know what? Drop the word scam if you want any of my training, because I did put together a quickie, little course just for my home business owner clients who I help with their websites and stuff like that. So I do have that. So phishing scams, don't fall for them. Okay, how do you not fall for them? If you take any of the training, they will show you how to look in the email subject line for like typos, how to look in the email address for just little things that are a little off. Like, let's say somebody's pretending to be me and it's an email address at learnwithginny.com, for example. But maybe it's just learnwithginny with a dot, maybe a s.com, or maybe learn with Ginny and the I is on number 1 or something like that. Something a little bit tricky that you don't quite catch if you're not looking, right? So they do that. They copy websites and they're very sneaky. The Amazon ones, for example, they actually steal the logos and it looks legit. It says, here's your tracking information. And let's just say, coincidence, I just ordered something the other day. That must be my tracking information. Don't click the link. Go to Amazon.com, log in, go look at your orders. I know that's like 3 extra steps. but it's better to be safe than sorry, like your grandma said, right? Okay, so that's falling for phishing scams. Number 4, not using proper passwords or using the same passwords everywhere. So drop the word password if you need a password keeper, because I actually have a deal. I think it's 40% off, but I'll send you that information. So I think I go over that in that course too. So if you drop the word scam, I will drop you that course, whatever. It's free. Anyway, don't use the same password anywhere. Use unique passwords everywhere. That's why it's handy to have a password keeper of some kind of storage where your passwords are safe, where you have a master password that's different and totally encrypted with multi-factor authentication. So what's multi-factor authentication? It's a pain in the butt, right? You know it is, but it's necessary. So what it is you download an authentication app or you have a text sent to yourself. But be careful of those two, because if somebody did hack you and they sent you an authentication code and you're like, "Oh yeah, that was me," and you tap yes when it wasn't you, you just let a scammer in. So just be careful. Make sure that you requested it. So there's that. I think that's why using an authenticator app is probably the best way. Mine, I actually have 3-factor, right? Because not only is there the password, but then the next line of defense is the app. And the last line of defense is my fingerprint. So I have to put my fingerprint in. Okay. So that was a number 4, not using. And then number 5 is part of it, not using MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. So, the most secure, I think, I'd have to ask a technician for sure, but I think the most secure is using actual authenticator devices of some kind. Like they're like USB things, they're USB keys or something. I don't know. I don't use them. Obviously, I just have this line of defense, which is the authenticator app. Oh, yeah, that's number 5. Number 6 is opening attachments. So if you get attachments, oh my gosh, especially fake invoices, stuff like that, don't open them. At my workplace, I do get like invoices and stuff like that in my email, but don't open them. Go to the website, log in, and find the invoice that way. It'll be there. Or they'll send you a paper invoice, right? So there's that. Don't open attachments unless you know for sure that's a safe attachment. Like, let's say my daughter is sending me a picture and I know it's from her because I'm standing right next to her and she's sending it to me. There you go. That would be okay. But don't open attachments. Number 7 is connecting to public Wi-Fi without any kind of protection. The best way to use the internet when you're traveling is to use just your regular cell phone LTE connection without connecting to the public Wi-Fi. If you have to, don't use a VPN, or don't use like this laptop that might have, banking information or something on it. Don't do that, right? I don't keep stuff on my laptop. I mean, as general security, you probably shouldn't. If you work for a company, you might want your laptops and mobile devices to be encrypted and have that special software on it so that if something happens, they can actually erase it if it's lost or stolen. So that was it. The 7 mistakes to avoid. And bonus tip is get educated and be vigilant. So take that free course. Just drop the word scam and I'll send it to you, or go find another free course that you can learn how to stay vigilant and keep your stuff safe. It's hard to stay vigilant, so don't beat yourself up if something happens. Guess what? It's not your health. It's not your family. It's just money, and it's just digital data out there. So I know it's important, and I know that it feels like it could ruin your life, but That's what it is, right? So then and report these things. Report these things to there's a government website. I'd have to look it up. I'll drop it later in the comments if you really want to know. Drop a comment and I'll answer the question. Okay, so that is 7 mistakes to avoid to keep your hard-earned money safe. I have a couple of bonus sections that I'm going to talk about. And here it is. So I'm just going to go through 10 scams to avoid. These are 10 scams that can happen to people that I know people who fell for them. So I'm just going to dive right into them. If you want any of the free training that I put together, it's like a little mini course on avoiding scams and avoiding phishing attempts and all that kind of stuff. Just drop the word scam. Okay, so number 1 is banking scams. So these kinds of scammers send emails or messages pretending to be from your bank, asking you to verify your account information or reset your password. So your bank your bank is not going to send you emails, and they're not going to ask you for your login credentials or any of that. They're not going to ask you for your account number. They ask you when you go to the teller, and you're taking money out of your bank account in person, right? But they're not going to do that. They're not going to message you. They're not going to text you, and they're not going to email you. They might call you. No, take that back. They will not call you asking for that kind of information. No, because you would call them, right? You call them and then they ask for it to verify your identity. But they won't be reaching out and calling you unless you owe them money, but then they're not asking for that kind of information, right? They're asking you to pay them. So, number 2, PayPal and payment service scams. So, these scams appear to be from PayPal or one of the other Venmo or whatever. They appear to be from legit resources. I've seen them, the texts on my phone, PayPal, asking for payment, and I'll be like, what for? I'm like, I know I didn't use PayPal to buy anything. And besides that, if I did, mine's linked to my credit card, so I would have used the credit card, right? So don't fall for those. That's number 2. Number 3 is tax scams. So these are phishing attempts. They look like they look like they're from the IRS. Now, I don't know if you've dealt with the IRS, but they only send certified mail to you because it's a federal offense to use the mail, the US Postal Service, for these scams. Believe it or not, scams that are done in emails and texts are actually legal in some countries. So, and they can't send you local mail, paper mail, when they're in these other countries. So, the IRS will only send you, and it will have their logo and their watermark on the page and everything. So, you'll know it's from the IRS. And if you're in deep trouble, they'll knock on your door, but they're not going to text you. They're not going to call you. So don't fall for it. Have you ever heard of an elderly person in your family getting a call from the IRS asking them for information? Yeah. They leave messages on the phone saying, hey, we have a problem with your taxes. Please call us. No. Don't fall for those scams. And they happen every tax season. Tech support scams. Okay, so these, I don't know how many people I've known that have fallen for these, but you accidentally clicked something and you do have an infection on your computer. This is what happened, but you don't know it. And it pops up on your screen that says, Microsoft has detected a problem on your computer. Call this number right away. And then they ask for your credit card number, and then they ask to get into your system. And then they start stealing things. Have you ever seen the movie The Beekeeper? It's a fictional story about a woman who got scammed, and the beekeeper goes after the scammers, right? But it happens all the time. So Microsoft does not put pop-ups on your screen saying, "Hey, you're you need to call us immediately." No, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. You do get pop-ups from your anti-scam software, antivirus software and stuff like that, but they still don't say, "Call us immediately." They just say, "You've been infected, here's what you gotta do." They might send you instructions or whatever. Take it to a technician and have it cleaned off. Simple. There's lots of them. I can there's like 5 of them in town here. So, I know you have somebody you can call and pay them to clean off your computer. So, if you get a pop-up like that, have them clean off your computer. It's better to be safe than sorry. Better to pay $100 than to lose thousands. So, tech support scams, social media scams. Okay, so these I talked about this on an earlier. Um, and these are Facebook accounts. They're fake, right? Um, Sometimes they pretend to be like the entity, like Facebook or whatever. And when you click them, they're actually like a page or something. It's really weird. But they will send you these notes that look legit. And it says, your Facebook account is at risk. Click here to reset your password. Don't put your password in. They're trying to steal that information. They want the password because they want to try the password on all the other accounts possible, or they just want to steal your account. So they could be you, right? I remember a marketer I know who had this happen to him, and it was quite the process because he had to rebuild everything on another profile. He had to prove to Facebook that he was him and that this other person had stole. I mean, it was just a mess. So, yeah, don't give them your password. Use multi-factor authentication on your account. Don't give them your password. Facebook is not going to send you any messages saying there's a problem with your account, you need to reset your password. They're not going to do that. Yeah. Job offer scams. So here's something that I didn't even realize was a thing, but these people offer fake job opportunities. And then when you apply for the job, they ask you to pay fees or something, upfront fees for training materials or for some kind of transactional expenses or whatever. They make shit up. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that on my live, but they make stuff up. Or they might say, "We reviewed your resume and would like to offer you a position, but please fill out this form to proceed or give us your credit card," right? No, don't. They're fake. The job offer will disappear as soon as they have what they want from you. So, e-commerce and online store scams. An example is, like an order confirmation or shipping notices that trick you into providing login details, sometimes credit card information. So be diligent. Look at the websites, make sure it's not a fake ad or not a fake account. Just watch out for those. Gift card scams is number 8. And this is where they pretend to be somebody that is a person in an authority position or whatever, and they say, "Hey, like, let's say your boss or somebody, hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to run to the store and get some gift cards, for some of the employees or whatever." And they send you and they say, "Send the gift cards to this email or text me them or whatever." Then they run off here for their money. They're scams. So don't fall for those either. Charity scams, number 9. So these are fraudulent emails or messages claiming to be from charities, especially from natural disasters, significant events, asking for donations. It says donate now or click here to contribute. They steal your information and they're off to the bank with your money, or they're off to the dark web with your information. And then there is number 10, the fake invoice scams. Just don't open attachments. Don't click links. Just, again, I know I say this all the time on our company-wide lives and stuff like that. Don't click links. So verify that. All right, so just stay vigilant out there, stay safe. Those are the top 10 scams to avoid. And the last thing I want to talk about is the social media friends that aren't friends, right? So, if you've ever felt like you can't trust anyone on social media, you're not alone. It is absolutely true. Trust no one. I've always been accused of being kind of naive and, oh, always looking for the best in people. So it's easy to fall for these things. It's easy to think that people all want to help each other. But the truth is that, and I don't know where I heard this number, but like up to 7% of the population is sociopaths. That's kind of scary if you think about it. And I think that number was, I heard it in like 2015 or something. So who knows what it is now? I don't know if it's more, maybe it's less. I hope so. Anyway, so you got to be careful. Okay. So people use fake profiles all the time to trick people. They'll pretend to be a friend of a friend. Um, they will pretend to be a company. They will pretend to be somebody that just wants to help you out when the whole time they're trying to get something from you. And sometimes even people who mean well will still try to get stuff from you. And trust your gut instinct. You will know when these people, you kind of know. You can kind of tell by the language and that kind of stuff. Sometimes they'll say things that you want to hear, right? So there's that too. Now, there are scams where people will try to create fake profiles, but also deceive people into romantic relationships to hook up and stuff like that. And those can really lead to some really scary stuff. So be super careful. Then there's identity theft, then there's people that steal identities, and commit fraud that way. So I almost feel like, in this online world, you just have to be extra diligent. You have to be extra vigilant. Then there's the propaganda and misinformation that they put out on their profiles while they're faking to be these people, right? And I've seen it, I don't know, as a marketer and networker, right? We want to meet people because you never know who the next person is that might be a good business partner, that kind of thing, right? But online, it's hard to tell. You can't look them in the eyes and know if they're telling the truth. Because when you see people's eyes, you can tell. And over time, I mean, you've run into people who are liars and cheats and that kind of stuff, and you can feel it on them when you see them person to person. But online, you can't see that, and it's easy for people to hide behind their keyboards and pretend to be something they're not, right? Sorry about that. So watch out for that kind of stuff. That's what I have for you today. I hope that you found it all helpful. Drop the word scam if you want my free course. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I wanted to go a whole hour, but I didn't. That's okay. I didn't have enough on my notes to share with you. If you have questions, drop them. I'd be happy to answer. Hey, if I got questions, I'll ask you too. But anyway, make it a great day. I will see you next time.